Fire and brimstone coming down from the skies. Rivers and seas boiling.
40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes.
The dead rising from the grave.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Enough, I get the point.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and we're done covering the DC FanDome stuff. It's time to get back to DC Comics, Marvel Comics, get back to the comic book news grind right here on Thinking Critical, which is basically the bread and butter of the channel. Today, we're going to talk a couple of DC topics. We are going to talk about Endless Winter and some promo art, the new creative team on DC's Red Hood, and we will actually cover a little bit DC FanDome as far as some speculation on why they ended up splitting DC FanDome into two separate events. And here to talk with me about this today is the poobah of comics himself, Perch from Comics by Perch. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm thankful for you to have me on today and glad to talk to you.
Well, I'm glad to get back talking about comics, man. There's a lot of news going out there. Not a lot of comic book news, but we do have a couple of nuggets out there. But I want to say this before we get into that. If you're just visiting for the first time or you've been coming around but you haven't taken the leap yet, it's not a better time than right here, right now to subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoy this content. Let us know you want more. Give us an enormous thumbs down if we're a couple of rubes and we don't know what we're talking about. Either way, we would love to hear your comments in the comment section. And if you like Comics by Perch but you haven't subscribed to his channel, he also has 2 to 3 videos every day about the comic book industry. There is a link in the video description, and there's also going to be an opportunity to subscribe to his channel at the very end of the video. Now, Perch, we heard not too long ago that Endless Winter was coming. There's some speculation because there is a character called Endless Winter, I believe, created by the original, the creators of Superman. Mm-hmm. The best speculation I heard, though, was this. This is the one I was excited for. That because we know that that Superman is eating the sun in the Deceased comic book series, and I thought maybe he would finally eat the sun and we would be in Endless Winter, and that would be what this comic book was. It appears that is not the case. We got some promo art. One with Batman, one with Wonder Woman, and they are both definitely dressed for the occasion. And we got a couple of taglines on them. On the Batman teaser, fairly bland, you can't bury the past forever. But the much more interesting, ominous teaser is in Wonder Woman's promo art. We thought he was dead, but he's back. Obviously, it can't be Endless Winter, the character, because that is a female. What is this all talking about? What are we leading to here?
Yeah, it's I mean, certainly a lot of speculation. I think the last time, if it's the character Dolores Winters, which is what other people speculated on, Dolores Winters. I mean, a long history throughout DC of who this character was. Basically, tied up with the Humanite and other pieces. She died. Sorry. Before that, she stole Ice's skin. So Ice, a Justice League character from the old Giffen and DeMatteis run. And turned into a character called Endless Winter was the name of this character, but here's where it gets a little weird and where it doesn't quite fit a major Justice League storyline. She owned this kind of body spa that specialized in cosmetic surgeries and in pitting fights against each other, and that doesn't sound. I mean, you see these promo teasers with Batman and Wonder Woman in kind of their action winter gear. So that doesn't quite make sense. But she was killed by Prometheus and that character has been kind of more or less gone of late. So maybe it has to do with that. I apologize for the slight walk through history, but that seems to be the safest bet of who this character is. But all the same, it could very well be something else, different name, because that was certainly pre-New 52. So we've had the DC reboot twice since then. So who knows?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy with the speculation. Just thinking about it being apparently, the word on the street is it is a Justice League event. Obviously, Scott Snyder left the Justice League when his lead up to DC's Dark Knight's death metal was over. Robert Venditti took over for a short time. Williamson is taking over very shortly so he can do some tie-ins to death metal. But this is going to start before the end of that event. Do you think this is like the kickoff to the next Justice League writer? Is this going to be the launching pad? They're going to go right into like an event-style book or story?
It's possible. I mean, the timing of this, as you said, is very strange because it is happening before death metal's done. I think we'll have 2 more. We'll have December and we'll have January. This is coming in December. So either this event is very short, meaning it's going to hit in December. It's going to go heavy for 2 months and then into whatever the new world is. I can't imagine, with all the coordination that's going on with DC right now, that this event is going to continue past the end of death metal. I feel like death metal is going to conclude and it's going to be kind of new status quo for everything. But maybe, what surprises me is they are putting out promos for this. They're teasing it as an event, as something to kind of look out for. Similar to what they did for Joker War. To be honest, it's the same kind of placement in how the solicitations are going and everything else. This just doesn't feel like it has the same impact, and the timing seems all wrong. It feels like this is going to have to wrap up in 2 months.
So I guess there is another option. This could be the first DC Black Label Justice League Elseworlds book, maybe, but that doesn't seem likely. It doesn't mention DC Black Label in the information.
No, it doesn't. And it does feel, I think the reports and what we've heard is reliable that this is going to hit Justice League. We do know the Justice League storyline that is crossing over with death metal does end in November, or it gets wrapped up there. So there is a hole in whatever Justice League is up to for December and January before whatever happens in February. Maybe it's a prelude. It just, again, the timing seems really strange as DC, their universe is kind of coming to a close around death metal and everything else. All these other titles are being canceled or stopped so they can reboot. It's just the timing is very, very odd. And then this character, if it's true that it's Dolores Winters, that is a deep cut of a character that we're doing there. And so it's a little bit odd. Maybe this is them bringing Ice back into the picture somehow. The character hasn't been seen much lately. I maybe I'm mistaken, but I don't think I've seen her in quite a long time. So maybe that has something to do with it. But like you said, the Wonder Woman promo says we thought he was dead, but he's back. How that all fits into all this is confusing.
It certainly indicates a male character.
It does, yes. They're not no misgendering here. It is.
And Dr. Freeze, Mr. Freeze, he's not dead right now.
That's right. So Captain Cold's doing stuff over in Flash. So it's a strange mix. I think that this is an interesting one to keep our eye on, though, because I think this is the best clue we're going to get to what the world's going to look like post death metal, or at least how things are going to tie into it. Unless, of course, this is 2 months and then it's done.
I'm personally very curious. They've got my attention because it's hard to kind of pin down what this could be exactly. We certainly know that it's Batman and Wonder Woman centric. Obviously, they're the two characters that they feature in the promo art. But who knows? Yeah. It's going to be exciting.
It is. I put it this way. Maybe this is a case of it is just a 2 month storyline. Maybe they'll double ship for 2 months. We get 4 issues out of it. Maybe there'll be a tie-in to Justice League Dark and other things. That's got a bunch of storylines that are tying up. We don't know. But if it is purely just a short-term storyline that they want to make a big deal out of it, I am impressed. I think it would be good for Marvel, for DC, for any of these companies to put some more marketing and some promotion behind these efforts that they're doing. If that's all it is, and it's not some giant earth-shaking, the status quo will forever be different event, great. They should be doing this for everything that they do. So, maybe that's where we're going. It is, I like you. I'm very curious to see where this goes. And yeah, I find myself hoping for them digging into continuity. I think you're going to do a review of it, or maybe the review will have dropped by the time this comes out. But 3 Jokers tied into some continuity. Maybe this will too, and that would make me as a comic fan very happy.
I agree. So moving on to the next topic that we have, when we heard that Scott Lobdell's Red Hood Outlaw, of course it started out as Red Hood and the Outlaws, became Red Hood Outlaw. He was leaving the series at issue 50, but it was not confirmed that was the end of the run of Red Hood, but we just knew he was leaving. But along with all the other titles that were ending and the creative team changes, it kind of seemed like maybe it was a candidate to be halting and then basically being restarted after DC's Dark Knight's Death Metal. But now we have confirmation. There is a name change of the comic series. It started out as Red Hood and the Outlaws. It became Red Hood Outlaw. But now, starting on issue 51, it is going to be Red Hood, and that is going to be the name of the title. And out is Scott Lobdell, and it is Sean Martinborough, who's worked on Detective Comics, Luke Cage Noir, and definitely not a big-name writer. Obviously, has worked a little bit with the Bat family, but certainly isn't somebody that's going to draw a lot of readers in just on name alone. It's going to be illustrated, at least the first issue is by Tony Akins. Done a little bit of work on Wonder Woman, Hellblazer, They do say it's the beginning of a new era for the Red Hood, indicating that this isn't just a short-term fix until they basically restart it. You know, is this the right man to keep Red Hood going? It feels like an odd choice to me.
It is an odd choice. Now, you know, I'm all for new talents coming in and kind of showing us what they can do. I think his pedigree, he has solid titles, just not major titles. Now, what I have heard, at least coming from Warner Media and what they want to do with DC, and this is kind of referred to indirectly in the FanDome bit, is that if you are, you know, certainly Batman, Batgirl, Red Hood, you have a very safe position right now based on what they're going to do with the game, some of the promotions they're doing. They want to clearly build up this family. So I think if you're in the Batman family, you have a nice, safe runway to kind of prove yourself. And so I like you said, I see this as an investment into the character. Again, the timing seems a little odd. I'm very curious how, you know, Death Metal ends and it's supposed to kind of restart bits of the DC universe, or some titles just kind of ignore this moment completely. I don't know, but it is this. All indications are this is not 2 or 3 issues we're going to get out of him. It is going to be a longer run. They're going to go for really trying to put a new kind of status quo of the character and really be Red Hood centric, without the other members of kind of his clan, Artemis and Bizarro, gone. And so it's really going to be focusing on him.
The solicitations talk specifically about Joker War. There is no mention of Dark Knight's Death Metal, so obviously it's tying into that. But Red Hood is getting a lot of play. The video game, he's one of the 4 playable characters.
Yep.
In the Titans streaming show on HBO Max, that is going to be the big storyline for Season 3. Obviously, there is an investment in Jason Todd, Red Hood, within Warner Media for DC characters, and you know, we're getting a new creative team, so I imagine that probably does give him a little bit of leeway and an opportunity to kind of grow the character, maybe take him in a direction that they're very happy with.
Yeah, I think this title will, you know, I think Lobdell was trying to do something very different with the character, build up kind of a mythology around all that, and that's great. It's good that he was doing that. I think what we'll probably see out of the new run, if they are trying to truly get a lot of synergy with the video game and some of the other things they're doing, I think we're going to get a very safe version of Red Hood, very much kind of the anti-hero. I think we're going to see over the next 12 months a lot of Jason Todd all over the place, and I think it's going to be very much the, you know, DC's version of the Punisher to some extent is at least how I've heard him described a lot lately.
Also, we also know Jason Todd, Red Hood, is going to be playing a part in the next White Knight Volume 3. We know he was introduced in the very last panel of the last series, or the last story, correct?
Yep, he is there, and then of course he's part of 3 Jokers as well. So I mean, he's going to be in so many titles.
All right, so moving on to the last topic, DC FanDome happened on Saturday. At the very last minute, just a few days before the big virtual Comic-Con for DC products only, you know, as far as movies, streaming, television, comics, they just kind of they cut it in half, and they put their best foot forward as far as almost all movies, a little bit of television shows, and then the one comic we learned about was the relaunch of Milestone. There's a lot of speculation about this. Does this mean that, you know, DC is in a full-on, you know, collapse right now? Do they not care about these properties? Or was this done because they didn't want to take all the spotlight? If you put up the comic book announcements or the kids announcements, or maybe the animated movie announcements up against the Batman, the Snyder Cut thing, Wonder Woman 1984, The Flash, you know, we're getting Keaton and Affleck as Batman in that movie, it would have overshadowed everything. Do you think they just moved it so the other topics could have their play and get a little bit of pub, or do you think this is a sign that there's maybe a little bit more upheaval at DC as far as the direction with television, comics, things like that?
Yeah, I don't think it's upheaval. I think it's kind of a reality check on where the money's coming from. I mean, they did, like you said, they led with their best foot, and their best foot is going to be the movies. It's going to be the video game. It's going to be, I mean, they have so much to announce with the new Batman film, with what they're doing with Flash, with Wonder Woman, with the Snyder Cut. I mean, as you mentioned, all those things. I mean, and still others. They're still going to do more for HBO Max. I mean, there's so much there that, you know, by contrast, the comics just pale in comparison to the amount of money that those other ventures are going to bring in. So it's just kind of a sad reality of just where comics are at the moment. I also think that comics maybe are in a weird spot right now with, again, with Death Metal and with everything kind of wrapping up. You know, they can't necessarily go out there and announce anything just yet, because it's gonna completely spoil how maybe some of these big events that they've been building to for 2-3+ years are going to play out. They have to kind of, it's just too early for that to happen. So it will be interesting to see if we do get kind of a makeup to some extent, or maybe, and it's unfortunately for comic fans, it's just a sign of the times. The comics are not the big news that they're going to spend a lot of money and time promoting. They're going to save that for the things that are bringing in all the money.
Another thing that we have to look at is we know that Comic-Con at Home, which was the replacement for San Diego Comic-Con this year, was an enormous flop. There's almost no buzz, almost nothing new was released. DC FanDome, there's more buzz. There's a lot of new trailers, exclusive content, things of that nature. And it seems to have performed better, but I think we might be dealing with the reality of virtual Comic-Cons. Is the buzz you get might be measured in like 24 to 48 hours, and then everything just dies off. Unlike San Diego Comic-Con, where you seem to get like a week, 2 week, and people seem to really be charged for these products moving out. Feels like it kind of just died off almost immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. I think and that's a reality too of when you're. I mean, the Comic-Con. I mean, so first off, over the last several years, even the buzz coming out of San Diego Comic-Con or New York City Comic-Con or these others, it never lasts. I mean, the news cycle is quick. It's never more than a week before that stuff starts to age. And what we're seeing is, if you take the con out of it, if you take the people and being there in person and kind of some of that excitement away, then that timeline, like you said, it shortens to about 48 hours and it's over. And I think this is just a reality of kind of how these online events are going to go. I mean, you and I both have channels with videos. We know that if you sit on something for a week and you put up the video on the news topic, it's 10% of what you'd get if you do it day of. And in many cases, I'd rather take some more time to kind of research the topic I'm talking about, or maybe get a little bit more thoughts about it. But all the attention is going to go to people who shoot day of. And it's like when a new comics drop, within an hour of the comic coming out, you got people immediately putting up their takes of a controversial comic. I think that's just the nature of the beast. And unfortunately, I think for these companies, it's going to change how they're going to do marketing. And that's just what we're in for.
Yeah, I think it'll all be trying to get that viral marketing where you get it very widespread, very fast, get the word out, and then it's just over.
Yep, and I think you're going to see more stunts. I think you're going to see more.
Less what Bad Idea is doing right now. Yeah,
exactly. Less content and more just kind of wacky things that are designed to draw attention, and that's going to be what we're in for. It's a shame. I think I hate to end this on a down note with you, but I think that we this year it was already happening, but of course the pandemic and everything sped it up. We are speeding toward kind of the end of the cons as we've known them, and they're going to be different from now on. Even if they get back to quote unquote normal, where everybody can show up in a hall together, it's not going to have the same feel. The news is going to hit much quicker, and DC FanDome in many cases for DC was largely a success. It was a way to kind of change the talk away from the layoffs and everything that was going on with Warner Media and put their best foot forward. They got a lot of good buzz out of the movies and the things they're doing. So for them, I think it was a success. For fans, for maybe other people in the industry, I think a lot of people are just left kind of wondering how did this happen? How did we get here?
Perch, I appreciate your perspective on everything. Like I said, here in a couple of seconds, you'll be able to subscribe to Perch's channel. There's going to be an icon. It's going to say Comics by Perch. It couldn't be easier for you. Just select and go subscribe. I do want to say this before we sign off, and this is an even bigger down note, but a good friend of the channel, Timothy Lim, he's an independent comic book artist. He is well known for his love of his rabbits. I guess he had 5 bunnies as pets coming into 2020. This year he's lost 4 of them, and our hearts just go out to him. Just losing a pet is very hard. It's hard enough as it is to lose 4 pets in 1 year. Just with everything else that's going on with 2020, it must be heartbreaking for Tim. So, my thoughts and prayers are going out to Tim and his family, and we hope that he feels some type of relief in the next bit of time. It's hard to get over these things, but I'm really sorry to hear about that, buddy. And if you can find Tim on social media and send him a nice, kind word, he could definitely use it right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, Tim's a great guy, and it's with everything going on, the drama and the pressure and to lose a pet and a friend, it's very tough. So my thoughts are out with you, Tim, and I hope you are doing okay, and you got a lot of people thinking about you.
Well, like I said, thank you very much, Perch, and I wish we could end on a happier note, but we got to be honest with everything that's going on.
Absolutely. Tomorrow will be better.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.